At number 31, we have the San Jose Sharks. 0-4 so far. They've allowed 17 goals in 4 games, and they've scored just 5. Vlasic and LeBanc are -7. Carlson's a -6. He doesn't look very comfortable. Hurdle has no points. Martin Jones looks bad. Just rough start for the Sharks. Their next game is against the Chicago Blackhawks, so definitely a must-win for them to climb in the standings. At number 30, we have the Ottawa Senators. They're 0-2 so far, but they have a promising young core. They have Kachuk and Shabbat, but long season ahead. Obviously, they're not going to be good this year. They do have the Sharks pick though, if that's any consolation, and they just got Nemesnikov from the Rangers. Their next team will be the St. Louis Blues, so another tough game ahead of them. But don't expect too much from Ottawa. Number 29, the Minnesota Wild. Also 0-2 to start the season. They've only scored 4 goals in those 2 games. And guys like Zuccarello and Stahl, -4, -5, no points. They have a long season ahead of them too. They got a lot of big contracts, Parise, Suter. They got some older players, and it's definitely going to be tough for them. I don't know what Minnesota's doing, if they're rebuilding or not, but tough for them. Their next game is against Winnipeg. Should be a good game. Number 28, the Arizona Coyotes. Also 0-2, and their biggest problem is offense. They've only scored 1 goal in those 2 games. They were shut out once. They've only allowed 3, so their defense is pretty good, but they need guys like Phil Kessel and Clayton Keller to get going. Their next game is against Vegas, which should be a good test for them, as Vegas is a pretty good team, but they need to, like I mentioned, they need to get going. They need to start scoring some goals. Number 27, the New Jersey Devils. Not the way they wanted to start, big additions like PK Subban, Jack Hughes, obviously, guys like Gusev and Simmons, and it's their defense that's been struggling, really. They've allowed 16 goals in 3 games, and they haven't, won a game yet, so they need to keep the puck out of the back of the net. Schneider, he needs to start putting some games together. Their next game is against Edmonton, so they should be able to score some goals against Edmonton. Number 26, the Dallas Stars. They're 1-3 so far through the first 4 games. Rupe Hintz, he has been having a breakout season, 4 goals so far. But the veterans like Ben and Pavelski, they're struggling. They need to get going. Obviously, they have a lot of injuries. Guys like Dickinson, Perry, Polak, Steven Johns, they've been out. But they have the goalie in Bishop, and they have pretty good offense and defense, so they need to get going. Their next game is against Calgary, so it should be a tough matchup for them. Number 25, the Vancouver Canucks. They just had a big win against the Los Angeles Kings. I think they beat them like 8-2. Quinn Hughes looks good. Pettersson, Besser. Obviously they have some pretty good young players coming up. The biggest thing for Vancouver is consistency. Can they make the playoffs? I don't know. They need to stay consistent, score goals, keep the puck out of their net. Markstrom needs to play well. Their next game is against Philadelphia, so it's one of those games they need to win if they want to make the playoffs. Number 24, the Los Angeles Kings. They just lost to Vancouver, but I have them ahead of Vancouver because I think they've been playing a little better, and honestly, I think they have a better chance at the playoffs than the Canucks do. Doughty and Kopitar, they look to have a good season. My question mark is, can Jonathan Quick keep it up? Can he play well enough to get them in? Their next game is against Nashville, and same thing with the Canucks. It's a game they need to win if they want to make the playoffs. They got to win games like that. Number 23, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're struggling defensively. They lost Bobrovsky, they lost Panarin, but it's in net they missed the most. They've allowed 14 goals in 3 games, and they're gonna have to try and score their way out of their defensive woes. Losing Bobrovsky, that's a huge blow. So their next game is against Anaheim, I believe, and they're going to have to really tighten it up defensively. Guys like Jones and Werenski are going to have to play out of their minds. Number 22, the Florida Panthers. They're actually struggling defensively as well, despite getting Bobrovsky. Aaron Ekblad is really having a rough season. He just hasn't looked good out there. Obviously, their forwards like Huberdeau, Barkov, and Hoffman are playing great. Hoffman had that hat trick there. But they need to tighten it up defensively, get some depth scoring to complement that great first line. Their power play is actually doing really well. Their next game is against the Buffalo Sabres, And that should be actually a pretty good game if Florida comes to play. Number 21, the New York Islanders. They need more scoring. It's that simple. They need more from Matt Barzal, Anders Lee, Jordan Eberle. They need more scoring. They've always been a pretty, solid defensive team, and they need, Varlamov to keep playing well and their defense to keep playing well. But they need more offense. It's that simple. Their next game is against the Carolina Hurricanes, which should be a really good game. They need to really put some pucks in the back of the net here. Number 20, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Injuries, that's all you think of when you think of Pittsburgh. They got Hornquist, Malkin, Rust, Galchenyuk, Bukestad, all hurt. Matt Murray, he needs to be better. I know a lot of people are questioning if he's really an elite goalie. He did win those back-to-back cups, but, he hasn't... He's had a rough start to the season. He needs to get better. Pittsburgh is a great team when they're healthy, but that's the question. Can they stay healthy? Their next game is against the Anaheim Ducks, and, look for a big bounce back if they can get some people back. Number 19, the Blackhawks. They only played one game in the first week, so it's tough to rank them. They did lose to Philadelphia 4-3. Chicago's a tough team to rank, but I think they're going to do a little bit better. The only reason they're not high or low on the list, even if they won, they wouldn't be much higher, is, like I said, they only played one game. So their next game is against San Jose, so we should see, obviously someone's going to win, but we should see someone moving up or down. Number 16, or 18, pardon me, the Calgary Flames. They're 1-1-1, and their biggest problem is depth. They need more bottom six scoring, and they need, David Riddick to play. Obviously, I think he's the starter now over Cam Talbot, but they need him to play better. They need bottom six scoring because they have, great first line, but they need bottom six scoring and better goaltending. Their next game is against Dallas, so two teams that could really use a win. Number 17, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are pretty low on the list, but that's just because, they haven't hit their full potential. Obviously, we all know what Tampa Bay can do. They need more fire in their game. They're such a good team, and they know that. They need to play, they need more fire in the game. They got to win. All the tools are there. They need to prove they can win. They just got to knock off the rust and go out and win. Their next game is against the Toronto Maple Leafs, so definitely a fun game to watch. Mark your calendars for that one. It'll be a good game. Number 16, the Winnipeg Jets. 2-2 so far, but their blue line is just garbage. They're decimated on their blue line. Boflin's gone. Morrissey's hurt. Trouba's gone. Everyone's gone. They need a big year from Laine, and they need a big year from Hellebuck if they want to make the playoffs. They're a borderline playoff team to me, in my opinion. It just depends on those factors. Their next game is against Minnesota, a game they should win, and a game they're going to have to win if they want to make the playoffs. They got to win games like that. Number 15 is the Detroit Red Wings. So this is the top half, or the top group of the NHL. Mantha, Larkin, and Bertuzzi. What a line. Just fantastic. But, as usual, you can't win without depth. So they need depth scoring, and they need goaltending. You got to have Howard. He's got to play better. He has been good. He's not a bad goalie. He's got to play better. Same with their defense. Their next game is against Montreal. And, it's a game they should win, but, will they? Will they make the playoffs? Number 14, Nashville. Duchesne, he's fitting in. He looks good. He's got 6 points in 3 games, I think, and he's looked good. Their defense is good, but they need Saros or Rene, whoever's the number one now. They got to play like a number one because their window is slowly closing. They've had their years, and now they got to win right now. Their next game is against the Washington Capitals, so another tough team. And like I said, it's their year. They got to win. Their window's almost closed. Number 13, the Vegas Golden Knights. They're 2-1 in the season, but I didn't put them high because they beat up on the Sharks for their 2 wins. But Cody Glass, man, he looks great with Stone and Pacioretty. They're a cup contender for sure. They're missing, I think, Tuck, Eakin, and Schmidt to injury, so when those guys get back, they'll be even better. Their next game is against the Arizona Coyotes, a game they should win, and they probably will. But definitely a cup contender for sure, in my mind. Number 12, the Montreal Canadiens. I have them up a little higher just because I like their game. Their game is all speed, and they have a lot of depth. They don't have a superstar. Their superstars, he's in the net, named Carey Price, and they are relying on him as usual. As usual, everything goes through Price. If he has a good season, they make the playoffs. If he doesn't, they won't. Their next game is against Detroit, which, that's pretty much 2 even teams. And whoever can win more games like that will make the playoffs. Those will be crucial points at the end. Number 11, the Colorado Avalanche. Best line in hockey with McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog? Probably. They finally have good depth. They have an incredible blue line with prospects like those young kids like Makar, Byram, Gerard. Like it's just fun to watch. They're low because they only played 2 games. They are 2-0. Their next game is against Boston, and they could definitely move up higher if they keep beating tough teams like Boston. Number 10, the Philadelphia Flyers. They're 2-0. They've only allowed 3 goals, and Carter Hart is definitely a future star. They're a dark horse playoff team in my mind. I really think they could make the playoffs over teams like Pittsburgh. You know, yeah, it's all about consistency for them. If they can stay consistent, they finally have a good goalie, and I do see them making the playoffs. I could see that for sure. Their next game is against Vancouver, and you got to win games like that if you want to make the playoffs. Number 9, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their forwards are studs. Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Tavares. Like you can't go wrong with guys like that, and they're playing great. Their power play is incredible. Morgan Riley is a monster on the back end, and they finally have better depth. That's the biggest thing with the Leafs. They've never had that bottom 6 that can really win you games. I think they have a better shot now this year, and they're really fun to watch. Their next game is against Tampa Bay, so clash of the Titans there. That should be a great game. Mark that on your calendars. Number 8, the New York Rangers. 2-0 so far in the season. Panarin, Zibanejad, Trouba, everybody's playing well. They're really fun to watch right now. They're low because they've only played 2 games. Same with Colorado. But they are, really exciting to watch. They look great so far. They definitely could have been higher if they played like 3 or 4 games. Their next game is against Edmonton and McDavid, so that should be a good game too as well. Zibanejad has to be one of the most underrated players in the league. The guy's he's on fire right now. Number 7, the St. Louis Blues, 2-0-1, defending champs. They look good. They look like they came to play, everything's smooth. Petrangelo's been great. Everyone's been great. Binnington's played really well. And for the Blues, it's just a matter of, they won the cup, they proved they can do it. It's just, can they do it again? And honestly, they could. I don't see why not. Their next game is against Ottawa. And you'll probably see them climbing because Ottawa's a pretty easy game, no offense to the Senators. Number 6, the Washington Capitals. 2-0-2, and they look good. They look ready to make another run at the cup. Vrana, Ovechkin, Wilson, Backstrom, Kuznetsov's back after that suspension. They look good. Biggest question mark, bounce back year for Holtby. Can he play well enough to, be back to normal Holtby? They played some tough teams in St. Louis and Carolina in their first couple games. They got points in all of them. Their next game is against Nashville, another tough team, and they could definitely move up as well if they keep winning. Number 5, the Boston Bruins. Obviously, their top line with Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak looks good. Halak's playing well. You need good backup goalies in this league. And their defense, toughest defense core in the league probably. They're pretty tough to score on. It's just, there's nothing comes easy. Nothing's free when you got 6'9" Chara back there, Their next game is Colorado, so it should be a good matchup. Tough defense versus, good speed from Colorado. Should be a very good game to watch, and definitely a cup contender are the Bruins. Number 4, the Anaheim Ducks. Quick start for the Ducks. Obviously they're pretty high, but they're 3-0. It's just, that's how it works in the first week. Anyone can be anywhere. But John Gibson, John Gibson, biggest reason why they're so high. He's a fantastic goaltender, and he's carrying their team. Can they keep it up? That's the question. I mean, obviously, I think they're going to drop a little, but, good to see the Ducks up there. Good start for them. Their next game is against Pittsburgh, and should be a good game. Number 3, the Edmonton Oilers. Who would have thought? Neil, McDavid, Draisaitl, Kassian. Playing fantastic. Neil's got, 6 goals in 2 games? Something like that. But their biggest question mark is in net. Can Mike Smith have a good season? And by that, I mean not do anything stupid, give up any dumb goals, and play consistently well. I think he can. He's a good goalie. And their depth just needs to not cost them games. As long as you can let McDavid do his thing, you'll be fine. Number 2, the Buffalo Sabres. And Eichel, he looks good. He looks like he's having fun. Finally his team is winning. Victor Olofsson has been great, especially on their power play. Their power play has been fantastic. Dahlin looks really good. But they need good goaltending. If they can get good goaltending from Hutton and Ullmark, I really do think they'll make the playoffs. They're a wild card for me. Their next game is against Florida. And, Buffalo, I really do think they'll make the playoffs. That's my prediction right now. And that brings us to number 1, the Carolina Hurricanes. And they're 4-0. great depth, and they're scoring even without Sebastian Aho, who's been a little bit quiet so far. Best defense in the league, I do think. I do think they have that. They're a cup contender. Obviously they had a great run last year. And can Peter Mrazek play like Peter Mrazek? He's hot and cold sometimes. If he can stay hot, they definitely will make the playoffs, and they could go deep. Who knows? Their next game is against the New York Islanders, and that basically wraps up this video. If you agree or disagree, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And thanks for watching this video, and I will see you guys later. Peace.